All right, man. We're back at it. Jeremy Hazelbaker, I appreciate the time again, man, for entertaining us. Our 8U to 18, 17U ball clubs. Um, I asked him, hey, you got a chance to ask a former Cardinal, a baseball journeyman, a guy with a ton of experience, any questions that you would like, and and so far we've had some good ones.
Yeah, real
And
good ones.
we've got a few more on the way. We'll jump right into it. Um, Riley Hines wants to know, how would he prepare himself in the off season? And let me help that out. Let's talk about as soon as the season's over. Like,
Right.
so let's talk about the cool down, and then and then your off season preparation, getting ready to play.
Yeah, so that's definitely a great question. So as far as off season goes, there's been times as far as the end of 16, I wasn't an everyday player at the end of the season. I didn't play every inning of every game. So I had a not as I didn't need as much time off physically for my body to recover and regenerate from the 160 games. So the day I got back, I got in the gym. I started working out again. I started training again. But that's the thing for me. I think that I didn't need as much time off or as much time to cool down as a lot of guys do. In those games where minor league seasons or seasons where I play almost every game, I'll take a 2 week break, and that's the max that I give myself. 2 weeks of doing nothing, and by the end of that 2 weeks, man, I'm itching to start baseball. I'm itching to start getting in the gym, throwing some weights around. So that's basically my routine.
Right on, man. What Zachary Veal's got another question. It's we talk about working out here in this one too, but what daily routine does he have on game days and off days?
I got to the point where I didn't like off days. I wanted to keep going. We play every day anyway. Just keep going. The body feels, you get into a thing where you play every single day. You get into a routine. You're feeling good. So a day off seemed to hurt me. I wanted to keep seeing pitches. I wanted to keep throwing. When you get towards the game 80, 90, when you get up there, an off day is nice for the body. But, the off days early in the season, I'm sure you probably agree with me. I'd rather just keep going. And save the off days for later in the season when our bodies need them.
Yeah, absolutely. It was they schedule a bunch of off days early on anyway for rain out and snow, because they know we're going to get those days. But yeah, it'd be nice if you could if you could cash those in later on in August when it's 101 degrees outside,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you're back catching on the tail end of a 12 inning ball game on a day game on a getaway day on Sunday.
Kids Day.
Well, yeah, yeah, no doubt. SpongeBob SquarePants Day.
Oh man.
Those are the worst, man, because they pack those kids in, and there are foul ball missiles that hit into the stands, man. I hated playing those. There is
I
nothing
got
worse. You knew it, like as a catcher, you're sitting back behind home plate and you're throwing down, and you know that this guy cannot get to this inside fastball,
right.
and you know that that's the right pitch, and you look over your corner, and man, these kids are having a blast. They're not paying attention,
Not
and
looking at all.
oh man, and the worst is, and guys get hit. It's terrible. It is so terrible, and oh man, it's gosh
I got
dang
to
it.
the point where I stopped. A foul ball goes in the stands. I got to the point where I didn't look anymore because
Uh,
you have that feeling where it's not going to be good. I
no
just had to
way.
stop looking.
And that's it. Like, we say it all the time. Like, hey, man, you paid for a ticket. You got to pay attention. Like, it's easy to
Right.
say. Like, it's easy to say that when we're. But how many guys have you? How many guys? It's happened. Guys get in the dugout and they're not paying attention they're up there top stepping it, not paying attention,
Uh-huh.
and Well, like, what are you doing, man? Pay attention. There's a ball game going on.
It's almost like you can't not watch when you're at a ball game because it seems like a ball will find you somehow. There's so many foul balls no matter where you're at. I mean, you could be in the dugout bathroom. If you don't close the door, a foul ball could come in there and clank around and get you.
Yeah, ugly finders, man, all day long. And and I've been like, I've had my front teeth knocked out. I told you in Britain's bullpen, I was working with a kiddo and I wasn't behind a screen. I was at a 90-degree angle, thought there's no chance, and boom, line drive knocked my front teeth out. And man, it's made a believer out of me ever since. We're down on Bossy Field, especially down at Bossy, and the dugouts are right on top of home plate.
Right.
And you finally get to where, like, if this is a top rail, you get a right-handed hitter up, you got your head dug. You just can't take a chance. We had Doug Henry in Hickory, North Carolina one time, pitching coach. And Doug was the man, too. If you've ever run into Doug Henry, man, he is as good as gold. But he had his clicker. He had his arms over the top rail. He had his clicker in his fist, counting pitches. Foul ball comes in and hits his middle finger. The clicker just falls out of his hand, and the foul ball broke his finger straight across, and Doug didn't flinch. He was stone cold the whole time. I mean, everybody else, and Doug is that type of personality, dude. Like, he's a strong, confident dude, and he was just like, well, that clicker's broke. And maybe my fingers, his finger's this big around. I mean, it's huge. But yeah, man. Sorry, I got sidetracked, man. I got onto some story time. Matt Probst has got a good question for you. What is his mental approach when coming up to bat? This is a great question, man.
Yeah.
You're approaching the day. Yeah, we're going to start there. Like, hey, you know who their starting pitcher is. Now you're going to approach your at bat. There you go.
Yeah, so the biggest thing for me is I wanted to be as physically and mentally prepared as I could be. I wanted to know who was throwing. I wanted to know what they had. And that was the toughest thing when you had coaches that didn't really give you all the information. You ask a coach, what this guy has, and he's like, fastball, curveball. And, you go up there and you see a filthy back foot slider and then a dirty changeup. But I just like to be as prepared as I can be for what this guy's going to throw at me. But it's a battle. You go up there, this guy's wanting to take your money from you. It's a dogfight. I take it personal. If a guy gets me out that I think shouldn't get me out, I'm bummed. I want my next day be, because I know I can get him. I know I should have got him. But, unfortunately, that's the matter of the fact, that you're not always going to get a hit. The pitcher's going to get you sometimes, but also you're going to get him.
Yeah, it's just being a pesky competitive out, not giving away at bats. And you've done it. I've done it. Everybody that's ever played done it. Where you just go up and it makes me want to punch myself in the throat thinking that I gave away at bats because I can't have a bat right now. But you know how it is. It's like I totally just gave away that at bat. Like, man, somebody should rip the stinking uniform off me for doing that because it's a disgrace.
Exactly.
And we've all done it. But gosh, dang it, and I'll never be able to change that either. But man, I would punch myself in the throat if I could go back and get a hold of myself and just wring my neck about giving away at bats. But
there are games where I come in real quick. There are games where I come in and I'd be leading off for 2-hole, and guys would ask me what he had, and I'd say nothing. Like, he's literally garbage. I just swung at a pitch that I shouldn't have swung at, and then I'll go to tell him what he has. But it's the most frustrating thing, just like you're saying.
Yeah, it is. It's and the mental preparation is what helps with that. What I've got a question. I got a question from a parent. I'm curious to know what his mindset was at 12 to 13 years old, junior high, high school age. Did he ever go through a phase where he felt burnout or wanted a break? Uninterested. And then if so, what brought you back around?
I don't think that I ever went through. That's an amazing question, one that I've honestly never been asked before. I don't really think I've ever been burnt out on baseball. And I think a big reason of that is because, I played other sports. I did other things as a kid. I had fun outside of baseball. I went and did things outside of baseball. So there was separation, and that's a big thing. Like when I was in the big leagues or when I was in the minor leagues, I did other things also. You get up, there's time before you have to go to the field, before you got to go to the park and start working. So do other stuff, go fishing, go do something else to give yourself a break. And, for kids that are younger, there's more to being a kid than just playing baseball, than playing basketball, playing football. Yeah, you want the best for your kid. You want them to get a scholarship to go pro, but keep them interested in baseball by doing other things also. Let them play basketball. Let them do another sport. Let them, hang out with their friends, do something else. And then I think they'll let you know. They'll let you know if they want to do more of something. If they don't like something, they'll tell you. But just allow your kid to go down any avenue that he or she wants to.
How about body language? I see this a lot, and I think it's difficult. I'm not a parent, so I can't tell you what it's like to be a parent. But I've been a coach, and you can see it. I'd be interested in your opinion here or your thoughts, but body language will tell. Like, body language is huge when it comes to anything. Like, it's pretty simple. I mean, if you're smiling, chances are you're probably happy. If you're all scrouched out, chances are you probably look mad. Pretty easy. Body language is body language. And if a kid's pouting, like thumping his shoulders and head, like if he's not hustling out to a spot, and so how important is body? I mean, you said it earlier, like they'll tell you what they're feeling or what they want to do. How important is it for parents to listen to body language, to watch body language versus listen to the verbals?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Body language tells you everything. So you don't have to have your boy or girl tell you, they don't like something. You can watch them and see, if you tell them they have practice, and they're slumped over and pouting, and you can feel it out. You want to keep your kids as engaged as you can and whatever they're doing. And that's a amazing point. Body language tells you everything. Jumping back to baseball terms, like we said earlier, you get out on an AB that you should have smoked a line drive off this guy. You probably don't have the best body language because you're frustrated, you're not feeling good, you're bummed out. But you don't want to be seeing that as a parent when you're wanting your kid to be involved in things, invested in things. That's why I say, if you can do other things outside of baseball, baseball in the back of your head, yeah, you could want your kid to play in the big leagues as a baseball player, but there's, I don't think that you should stifle your kid and make them just go down one avenue, and you'll find out quick by them telling you or body language, if they don't want to do it, if they want to do something else. And I don't know if I'm tiptoeing around how to answer this or what, but I think that, just like you said, body language is huge. You're going to find out from your kid what they like, what they don't like. Kids, they don't hide stuff. I don't have any kids, but I can tell just watching interactions, they're not good at keeping secrets.
I know, man. That's a good question. That's one that, I mean, we can chat about forever on too. We touched on this Well, sorry, I'm gonna skip 12. We've already got to that. It's get ready in the off season, and what routines with food and exercise did he maintain? It's crushing a ton of food.
Yeah.
We've gotten to that. But the last part of this question I do want to get to: how did he prepare his muscle structure for hitting or throwing? What kind of, I mean, did you specialize in any kind of hip mobility, or any kind of any kind of restructuring or stretching or anything that you saw was a flaw in your
Yeah.
swing? Hey, you know what? I got to get this right.
Right. And you were kind of talking about this earlier, that if you're a left-handed hitter and you're a left-handed thrower also, you need to have some rotation on the other side. So for me, as a left-handed hitter, I did extra work on the other side just to keep things balanced out. And as baseball's grown, we've all found out that X, Y, and Z will help you. Weight training, eating right. Because back in the day, I'm not too sure that Babe Ruth ate great and trained every day. I'm not saying he did or didn't, but those guys back then, I'm not sure about it. And just now with the facilities that we have and that you can get your hands on, there's so much rotational stuff like band work that I do. A lot of stuff. I have a bad back and bad hips, so I focus on a lot of hip mobility and a lot of flexibility stuff, just because I get really, really tight, and if I'm really tight, my body just doesn't work how I want it to. I need to be loose. I need to be fast. So a bunch of stuff for me. I'm a speed guy. I'm a agility guy. So I work on quick movements, a lot of quick movements, like ladders. Still doing ladders, stuff like that. Just rotational stuff. You don't have to go in the gym and squat 400 pounds. A lot of lighter weight, quick movements, that gets you just as far.
Right on, man. Jeremy, I'm gonna kill this one off right here, because the next question, I'm hoping for a really neat answer, really good story, and that's going to lead us up into our next set. But Jeremy, I once again, I appreciate the time, man. It's been fun, and we'll
Absolutely.
be back again here in a second.
All right, good deal.